And we're back on the Fowler Show. Now everybody knows the war drums are a-beating here in Washington. And we're talking about it on the Fowler Show for you tonight. Joining me with, this is his first time in, I think, the political analyst role. We're excited to have
I'm
him.
here.
We have Rich Webster, producer extraordinaire, part of the Fowler, I would say, the captain of the Fowler Nation ship, and all these other things. And we are talking Syria. Rich, political analyst. Welcome.
Richard Fowler. Hello. So,
hola.
As you know, members of Congress are deciding whether to approve the use of military force in Syria. And this is a complicated issue that really, I mean, I have an idea of what the right answer might be, but there's really no right answer.
Wait, you have an idea of what the right answer might be? What is the right answer?
It's my personal opinion. And we'll get into it because I want to know what your personal opinion is. But the tentative votes are coming in from Congress on the authorization for a strike on Syria. Now, we know that President Barack Obama decided that he was going to deflect the ultimate decision on this to Congress, get their opinion on it. And right now, things are not looking good for the use of military force in Syria. We've already heard that boots on the ground is off the table, but unmanned bombings,
surgical bombings,
whatever you want to call it, are still being voted upon. And right now, 44 members of the House of Representatives are leaning yes, while 212 are leaning no. So things are not looking good for military action right now. One thing we need to be wary of is the president could very well go ahead, he's commander-in-chief, take these votes if everyone votes no, and still go ahead with the war. That's very possible. But I think that members of Congress are getting to the point where they're hearing from their constituents that we have too many problems at home right now. We don't want to get bogged down by another war when we can be doing so much more for America. And especially, there is no right answer about this military conflict. It's not like there's a good guy and a bad guy per se. There are there are many shades of gray. What do you think, Richard?
No,
Where do you stand?
I think you're right. I think there's a lot of shades of gray here. And with that being said, I mean, I think for the president, the good news here is that he's, 223 more votes that he sort of can figure out what he needs to do. The Senate, I do believe the Senate will pass the war resolution. I think it'll pass the Senate.
Well, if we have 212 leaning no, if only 5 more people vote no, then it's done.
The goose is good. But they're leaning. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, I think it passes the Senate. Well, I think it passes the Senate by 70 votes.
But one thing I do want to notice, and it kind of makes me happy, is I like when members of Congress actually listen to their constituents at home and make decisions based on that.
Well, I think, I got to tell you. One, I am a big supporter of the president. I've said this on the O'Reilly Show. I will say this here. I have no problem saying it, and to be very clear. There's a lot of problems that we have to fix here in America. There's a lot of problems. We have the prison-to-school pipeline. We have mass incarceration. We have a jobs problem. And don't get me wrong, I think the president has been laser-focused on jobs, and he's done a great job on creating jobs and that stuff. But with that being said, I would rather see this money going to fund worker training programs. And the other thing that's interesting about this whole, now there's a lot of political nuances here on this particular debate. And political nuance number one is how quickly the Republican leadership fell in line to the drumbeat of war. I think the reason why they fell in line is because if this Congress votes no on war, it sets a precedent that we've never seen before in American history. Usually, when the president says we're going to war, Congress is like, okay, let's go, ante up. So this is a very interesting, and I think to make matters worse, where this president went wrong on this is when he went to speak out and he wanted to get, and I think the right thing to do was go to Congress to get approval. I agree with President 100% on that position. I think what he should have done was he should have called for an emergency session right there and let the American people know. He should have addressed the nation, like every other president does from the Oval Office, and saying, I'm calling an emergency session of Congress to debate the merits of whether or not we should go to war on Syria. and why this is critical to our national security. The first reason, and he should have laid out a clear case, beyond the fact that, they violate international law and they're gassing their people and it's a horrible thing and children are dying. When children die anywhere in the world, it's a problem. Right?
I'm with you on that. I just want to jump in, and the chemical weapons thing for me is, I see it as being more of a political statement than anything else. For instance, multiple things. One, in my opinion, if you're killing someone with a bullet or with a drone or with a chemical weapon, you're still ending their life, and that's terrible. And
a chemical weapon is a different class. It's a weapon of mass destruction.
All right. Well, what about bombs? What do you think are in bombs?
Not
magical bomb dust.
No,
it's chemicals.
Yeah, but it's not the same as sarin gas, which can kill you in seconds.
I see your point. Which can kill you in seconds. So can bombs.
Yeah, but it's beyond that. The proliferation. The proliferation problem here too. I'm not defending. I'm not saying. I'll be 100 honest with y'all. Every day I go back and forth and I teeter on this war thing because my whole and for once in my life I actually sort of agree with John McCain a little bit, and that rarely ever happens. But if we're gonna go and we're gonna put our guys and gals in harm's way, we need to take Assad down, point blank, period. If it's whatever it is, I'm not saying that we should go, but if we do go, let's go and let's win. Let's not go and say, "Ooh, we dropped a couple bombs. Now we got to go." Like that's pointless.
Let's not turn it into Iraq or Afghanistan.
I think we go in, we take him out, however we do that, and we make sure when we leave that if we're going to go, we turn the civil war over so that we weaken Assad enough so that the rebels can win.
Right, but then the problem with that is that some of the people who are fighting on the rebel side are like affiliated with Al Qaeda, which totally goes against our whole thing with that. But where I stand on this, if we're going to take it from the lens of we're the humanitarian nation and we're the peacekeepers, I think that we need to kick it to the UN, and we need to.
But wait a minute now, I'm going to be the voice of I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Kicking it to the UN, first of all, we have a couple problems. First of all, and I rarely ever do I say that the UN is weak. But when it comes to, in this particular situation, because Russia and China both sit on the Security Council, the UN is weak because Russia and China will water down or veto anything that messes with their buddy Assad.
I hear that, but let's just go through the right. We've
done that already. I mean, Britain put a resolution in, and it was vetoed or threatened to be vetoed. By Russia.
Right. So we're not going anywhere with Russia or China. Their motivations, Russia is clearly interested in protecting Iran. China...
No, I wouldn't say they're clearly interested in protecting Syria.
Who is allied with Iran. I think that the end goal is... I mean, that's the thing that's so interesting about this conflict is that it's really a political chess game.
Yeah, this is some political brinksmanship. And I think the president, he's put himself out there, and now he's sort of backpedaling, like, the world set the red line, this, that, and the third.
And that's tough for a president when you're dealing with something like that, because...
And now there's new reports that come out.
His bluff was called, basically.
There's new reports that come out that the Obama administration is considering military training for the rebels. That's what U.S. officials are saying.
Yeah, that doesn't fly well for me. Our previous efforts with that have not gone that well. See, the problem is we arm these rebels, and then in 5 years they turn into the exact same people as the dictator who we just overthrew. And I don't necessarily think that there's any right answer to this. The guise of spreading democracy. I mean, if you can implement democracy, it's the best thing our world really has going right now. But getting to that point in a culture that has such deep roots with other forms of government and the way that things it's just impossible. It's not something that's a 1 or 2 year put the Band-Aid on and go back to doing what we're doing. I don't know. It's a tough piece.
It is a tough piece. And to end on a lighter note.
Yeah, really quick. This is hilarious. I got a kick out of this. During the Syria hearing...
Because, John McCain really cares about war. He's a serious proponent and advocate of war.
Yeah, so much that he decided that he was bored during the 3-hour Syria hearing and started playing some online poker. He got called out for it
By BuzzFeed.
It's hilarious that Mr. Warhawk, John McCain,
Could not pay attention in
like
class.
what is supposed to
America!
be it's supposed to be his
Pay attention in class.
most exciting hearing of this year, and
She'd be having mental orgasms.
I don't know, but we got to go to break. We got to pay some bills. We'll be right back. This is a conversation we're going to continue to have right back on the Fowler Show.